All right, good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get back to where we left off. We are going to continue on a new topic. This topic is going to be about just listed and just sold. So let me go ahead and pull up my notes here. Bear with me here just 1 second. All right, so just listed, just sold. One of the things that I enjoy most about this particular source is that this is endless. And what I mean by endless is we could go after so many potentials, meaning we can go out and we can knock on doors, we can telephone prospect, and we can do this for 10, 12, 15 hours. And ideally, you're never going to run out. This is with what I call is the quantity of the business. Hey, this is actually how I started my career. So I'm going to share with you guys here just very quickly in regards to why this is one of my personal favorites. And we're going to jump into some notes here in just a minute. So when I started in the business, very first thing I did was just, again, remember back in 1999. So back in 1999, I did just like any other realtor. I would go into my brokerage and I'd look to the right, I'd look to the left, and I'd see what all the other realtors were doing. What were they doing? Well, not really a whole lot. At this time, it was very common for you to market in an aspect of, being in a magazine or putting an ad in the paper or anything from that direction that created this kind of passive approach. And as far as this passive approach is concerned, it didn't work, just like any other realtor. And what I did is I asked my broker and I said, hey, what do we got to do to generate business? And my broker said, all right, well, what I want you to do is I want you to grab a flyer. It was just some random flyer about information about real estate or buying. I don't even remember what it was. He says, I want you to make 50 copies of them. Like, all right, what do I do now? He says, well, I want you to go knock on doors. Okay, what do I tell them? Just introduce yourself. Ask them, are they thinking about buying? Are they thinking about selling? So when I first started in the business, the my script at the time was I'd knock on the door. Hi, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. I work for the real estate company just right down the street, and I just wanted to ask you, are you in the market thinking about buying, selling, or for that matter, even investing? And at that point in time, I would get no, 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 not interested. But what I would get is on that first day, I did get one person that said, well, we're renting and we're thinking about possibly buying. All right, cool. Well, that's more business that I've generated in 1 day of door knocking than I had in, I don't know, I think it was almost 3 months that I had not generated a single deal. So I said, all right, well, if I get these kind of results, I'm going to do it again the next day. The very next day, I went and go and knocked on 50 doors, and this time I got another buyer and I got a seller. I don't remember if those guys actually ended up panning out. I'm sure that some of them panned out over a period of time, but I do know the activity that I was doing was allowing me to get more opportunities. Okay, more leads, more potentials, more maybes, so on and so forth. So it didn't take me too long. I then decided to go and go from 50 doors to 100 doors. And I didn't stop. I basically, did this for the next 8 months, every single day, Sunday through Saturday, 7 days a week for 8 months in a row. And I knocked on doors. And when I looked up, when it was all said and done, the tally board showed and reflected 42 transactions. Now, the reason I remember this number is because I had asked my broker when I first started, I said, what do I got to do to be like that person? And I was referring to the number one salesperson. And my broker said, you got to slow down, kid. Okay, I appreciate the eagerness, but this gal, she's been in the business for about 15, 20 years. I don't remember how long she had been in the business. And to do 21 deals, it takes time. Well, don't challenge me. Which is the best thing I could have happened to me because of my character. So in that I took it as a personal challenge. And yeah, I said I'm going to do whatever it takes to beat that agent, and I did. And when it's all said and done, I ended up doing 42 transactions. Where does the script come into play? Well, the script comes into play because a lot of you guys know I'm former Mike Ferry coach, former Mike Ferry coaching client of 25 plus years. And when I started in the business, my broker said, "Hey, you know what? What you're doing? There's this one guy out in at that time was Palm Desert that's hosting a seminar. I want you to go to the seminar." So I go to the seminar, and as I'm going to the seminar, the very first day, Mike had a panel of all of these millionaire agents. And one of the millionaire agents, Mike, had asked him, "Hey, I understand you know the scripts." And the guy went through, he spat out the just listed script like there was no tomorrow. And I said, "Hey, that's my script." It wasn't my script. There was some questions that were similar to, but what really intrigued me about this person is when he was on stage, I could see his watch from the very, very back of the row, super duper blingy. And anyways, this gentleman really, really inspired me, and I never looked back. So, anyways, this is the benefit of the script that I'm sharing with you guys. This is something that is near and dear to my heart because that's literally how I continued to build my business. So let's start with some of the notes. The first thing is I want to make sure we understand. This is in general. This is in regards to just prospecting in general. There's a disconnect. And the disconnect that most realtors have, and think about you yourself in your position. Here we are, November 11th, 11/11. Um, and they don't hit their goals. They don't end up, they don't end up hitting the original goal. The goal was to do 20 deals and you're at seven. The goal was to do 40 transactions and you're at 17. Well, the problem is there is this disconnect as to not just knowing our goals, it's also knowing the activities are in alignment with those goals. Okay. So not only do you have to know what it takes week after or day after day, week after week, month after month, so that you can be in alignment with your goals, you want to be able to track, in a sense, your numbers. The other thing is it's not just hitting the target number. Okay. There are some people that do thrive on. I've had some clients in the past before where they didn't really know anything other than what excited them, other than knowing that they wanted to hit their target number or be the number one agent or win that one award. But for those others that don't get inspired by this, you have to know your motivation. What is as the saying goes, your why? But it's not your why because in most cases it's variable things. There's a variety of things that we want. It's knowing your goals. And I'm not talking about just your numbers. I'm talking about materialistic goals, houses, boats, trips, cars, all of those things. Business goals, how many units, how much income, having an assistant, having the corner office, being the number one agent. How about something along the line of personal goals? What I enjoy most about personal goals, which can be challenging, is these are in most cases the most rewarding. What are personal goals? Well, these are things we have to earn. Hey, they're the hardest to achieve in most cases. And what are personal goals? Well, think about, losing weight. How about running like a marathon? How about being in a position where you're strengthening your spiritual relationship? How about your personal relationship with somebody close to you, either, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, your wife, your kids, your grandkids, your grandparents, creating those relationships and being a little bit stronger in those areas. So we want to be able to create that connection. Okay. Now, why is this important? Because we all go through it. We all go through the monotony of, this business. And sometimes we find ourselves a little bit frustrated because we go through, okay, I've had my license for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, whatever it is, and I'm just not as excited as I used to be. I get that. I understand. Okay. Trust me, 26 years later, I'm trying to sit here and reinvent all of these things, what motivates me, what excites me, all of these things. So you have to be able to connect the link between the prospecting that we do and the goals that we're trying to achieve. Okay. And again, any one of them, but you have to set them. You have to be able to dangle that carrot, if I may. Okay. The next thing is we must make a commitment to build our business through just the consistency of our prospecting. Every single day, it's consistency. Okay, it's no different than trying to lose weight, put ourselves in a peak physical position. If we work out, once a week, or we went and worked out like crazy last Thursday, what kind of results are we going to get? Which is very little. So we have to be able to build it consistently. And it is vital, it is important that the consistency behind it, we have to understand that we do grow. And in that consistency, it's kind of like think of, for example, for those of you that are homeowners or live in a home or have ever been in a position where you cut grass. Well, we don't see the grass growing, okay? But we do know that we got to cut the grass every single Saturday. And in that, the reason we go through that is because we are in a state of growth and it's constant. And ideally, that growth is in a positive manner. So being in a position where you're doing it consistently is going to allow several things. Number one is build a rhythm. Number two, it's going to allow you the opportunity to become stronger. It's going to allow you the opportunity to become better when it comes time to your craft. And the stronger and the better you are in your craft, the mental game becomes a little bit easier. We have the confidence. Okay. So let me open it up to the audience here. Again, thank you guys for those of you that are joining us on Instagram, over on YouTube, and also on Facebook. So I am beyond grateful. We actually just launched a new system today. So hopefully we're all good on all of the different systems and platforms. So now I literally just show up to one system instead of having all of these phones all over the place. So I just want to take a minute to say thank you guys for joining us. But I do encourage you to come join us over on Zoom as it does allow us the opportunity to interact a little bit better here. So, any questions, comments, concerns, observations, anything of anything that I can address? I'm going to break down the script here in just a little bit. Nope. If you do, feel free, jump on in. Okay, so let me go ahead and share script now with everybody. Again, the purpose of the of what we're doing is to get better with our skills. So I'm going to break down the script today. We're going to get some role plays in. This month, I'm going to continue to just move that dial as I have before on getting people to volunteer. This is a volunteer type of program. The more volunteering we have, the better it is that this program continues to move forward. All right, so let me go ahead and fix my screen here. All right, so this is again the just listed script. Okay, the only thing difference between the just listed and the just sold script is nothing more than the opening. Okay. Now, right out the gate, somebody picks up the phone. I'm going to go through. Hi, I'm looking for John. Hi, John. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor with blank blank realty. Our company just listed a beautiful home for sale. It's right around the corner from you over on Banana Street. It has three bedroom. Okay. It's a two bath home and it's listed at a great price of 750,000. I was curious this is important right here. One of the most important parts of the opening. Who do you know that would like to move into our neighborhood? Okay, who do you know? Now, when I'm hearing recordings, because I listen to them all the time, it's very common for realtors. Unfortunately, what they'll do is they'll change that into a direction of, can you think of anybody? Okay. Are you in the market? Are you thinking about selling yourself? Now, why is this important? Because we get three strikes and we're out. And the moment that we change the who to a can you, will you, um, um, anything from that direction, it puts us now in a position where we're now getting a response of a yes or a no. And 99.9% of the time, we're going to get a no. Okay. So there we go. Strike one. We're not even 15 seconds into the conversation, and right out the gate, we're getting a no. So it is important that you do ask from a who standpoint, a what, a when, a where, and a why standpoint, because it allows the opportunity for the mind to be a little bit more open when we're asking that question. When we ask a will you, can you, is it okay, do you mind? Anything from that direction, it's going to be a yes or a no. And again, 99% of the time, it's going to be a no. So we don't put ourselves in a position where we ask a yes or no question, especially out the gate, unless we know the answer to it. Okay, which in this case we don't. Okay. So, and again, if you have any questions, feel free. I'm just going to simply break down the script. We're going to get a little bit of role play in. But let me ask this question because this is again another commonality. How many of you feel like this part is just too long? Anybody other than everybody? Okay. Here's the reason why. The reason why for some of you it is, and it does feel a little bit long, is because it's very flat. Okay, well, it's very flat. So let me give you the examples. So some of you do a good job in terms of, internalizing the script, memorizing the script. But you'll go through, "Hi, John. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor with blank blank Realty. I just listed a home for sale right around the corner from you over on Banana Street. It has three bedrooms. It has two baths, and it's listed for 700,000. I was curious, who do you know that would like to move into the neighborhood?" And it's just like that. Very flat. Okay. What we need to do is we need to be able to create peaks and valleys. This is what creates the excitement. Let me give you the example. This is the second version. So now somebody picks up the phone and I go, "Hi, John. John, hi. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. Yeah, I'm with blank blank Realty. I just listed a beautiful home. It's right around the corner from you. It's over on Banana Street. It's a three-bedroom, two-bath home. We listed at a great price of 700,000. I was curious, who do you know that would like to move here into our neighborhood?" Now, the one thing that's different between the two, it might be a little bit subtle. Some of you might be like, "I don't really see the difference." Okay. The difference is that there was no pausing in the first example. Number two is that there was no volume or pitch change, if you want to call it. Okay. Also, and the other thing was, I slowed down and I sped up. Okay. So that gives us the opportunity because it now creates a version of animation. It creates the peaks and the valleys. Okay. Which is really interesting. I don't want to go too much on this tangent, but for those of you, as an example, when you see like the Super Bowl commercials, okay, the way that they keep your attention is everything I just talked about. Okay. So pay attention to that because that's basically the elite of the elite. So as we continue to move forward, okay, continuing on the script, I really appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Tell me, how about yourself? When are you planning on making that move? Okay. Now we're turning it over to them. Okay. So, number one, we're asking, who do they know? Now, when we ask that question, who do you know? There is going to be a percentage of the time. I'm going to say probably 10 or 20% of the time they're going to say, "I'm not interested. I'm not thinking about selling my house." Oh, no, that's perfectly fine. My question actually was, who do you know? I overemphasize. Who do you know that wants to move here into our neighborhood? Oh, yeah, no, I don't know anybody. Hey, not a problem. Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to think about that. Tell me, how about yourself? When are you planning on making a move? Oh, goodness, my phone's going crazy over here. All right. When are you planning on making a move? And again, nine times out of 10, we already know the answer to it. Okay. They're going to give us no, we're not interested. We're not thinking about it. We're not, we're not thinking about doing anything. We're going to get all kinds of everythings, but we're not going to be caught off guard. So it is important that we do understand that nine times out of 10, we're not going to get caught off guard because they're going to tell us no. But at the same point in time, we also need to be prepared if they tell us yes, we are thinking about it, because they will tell us. You do it often enough, they're going to sit there and say, "Hey, I am thinking about eventually, possibly, hopefully, maybe. I'm waiting for the market to crash. I'm waiting for the interest rates to get a little bit better. Hey, I heard this whispers about this 50-year mortgage. Have you heard about that? Is that going to be reality?" All of these new things that we have to deal with all the time. Either way, I need to be prepared mentally, whether it's a yes or it's a no. If it's a yes, do I stop? No, I don't. Because question number two, number three, number four, and number five, those are all what I call our rapport building questions. Because if they say no, no, I'm not interested. Hey, not a problem. It's totally great. I completely understand. Now, how long have you lived at this address, by the way? Well, why does that matter? You're right. It really doesn't matter. Now, where did you move from? Well, we moved from out of the area. Okay, great. Well, how'd you happen to pick this area? Well, we heard that the schooling was really, really good. Well, that's perfect. Now, if you were to make a move, where would you go to next? Well, we've toyed with the idea of getting something a little bit bigger, maybe getting something a little bit smaller. We hate the state. We're thinking about making a move. Okay. Either direction, we want to be in a position where we are prepared. Okay, we are prepared. We are ready to go. And if they give us a yes, the exact same thing is well, that's great. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about how long have you been at this address? You've been here for 12 years. Great. Where'd you move from? Oh, you made a move over from Seattle. Well, how'd you happen to pick this area? Okay, great. Well, you mentioned you're looking to make a move. Where would you go when you're looking to make this move? Okay. So this gives us the opportunity to be able to be in sync with whatever conversation it is, whether it's positive and or it's negative. Now, in this, again, this is the only day I'm going to really break this down in its entirety. Okay. Now, in this, they sit there and they say, if you were to make a move, where would you go to next? And let's say, for example, they go nowhere. It's perfectly fine. Hey, I totally get it. I understand you. You weren't expecting a realtor to call you. However, if you were to make a move, where would you consider making a move to? Okay. And every once in a while, you are going to get that random, I'm going to get the hell out of state. I'm not really thinking about it. If anything, I probably would just get something bigger, something smaller. I'd move out of the area, whatever it is. Now, this part here, obviously, realistic, it take 1 to 3 markets to get this home sold. It's all going to be subject to the way that the market is. Okay, this is almost in alignment. This is how I use this. It's almost in alignment with where we're at right now. Meaning, if you were to make a move, where would you go to next? Well, we're thinking about making a move over to Texas. Great. Well, when would that be? Well, we're waiting for the kids to get out of school. Oh, okay. Well, when the kids getting out of school? Well, they should be done about May. Okay. Well, I guess my question is, did you want to be sold by that time, or did you want to start selling in that process? Okay, which is down here a little bit. But I'm going to ask them for clarity purposes. Oh, well, we'd like to be, sold and out of here by that time. Well, the reason I'm asking Mr. and Mrs. Sellers is obviously you realize it could take 1 to 3 months in this market to get a home sold. Did you know that? Yeah, we heard the market slow down a little bit. Okay. Now you mentioned to me that you wanted to be moved out, okay, by this time, okay, by May. Well, here's the thing, is it's going to take 1 to 3 months to get the home sold. And on top of that, it's going to take another 30 to 45 days. So let's do the math in our head. So we're probably looking at the best 2 months to as many as 5 months to get this process sold. Now you mentioned May. So that gives us January, February, March, April, May. Wow. You know what? It's probably a good idea we should be having this conversation sooner rather than later. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's all the way in May of next year, which is almost 7 months from now. I can narrow that gap based on with what I just said. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, I'm sure you want to spend the holidays here in your home, as you mentioned, because your goal is not to make this move until this next May. What we can do is we can take advantage of this window here over the next 6 to 8 weeks, and we can strategize in regards to some of the things that you should be doing to get your property ready for sale. I really honestly don't mind. Why don't we do this? Why don't we get together and I can give you my professional opinion? And then that way, when you are ready to go on the market, whether that be January or February, you've already addressed all of those things. Should I stop by this Saturday, or would it be better for me to stop by maybe mid part of next week? Well, we're not ready to do anything. It's okay. I totally get it. As you mentioned, you're not looking to make a move until May, right? Correct. Good. I just want to give you my professional opinion. And that way you don't have the stresses. You can go ahead and prepare your home and put it in the elite position so that when we do go on the market, you can be off and running. Okay. Again, I really honestly don't mind. I'll just stop on by. I'll give you my professional opinion. And then that way, of course, we get the opportunity to meet face to face. Should we do this on Saturday or should it come by, during the week? Now, what am I doing in that? That's what I call as a preview. That's not a listing appointment. That's just simply a preview. All I'm trying to do is just trying to put myself in a position, a stronger position, so that when they do make the decision of, you know what, Robert, you're right. Okay. I saw one of my neighbors and it took them almost 4 months for the entire process. I don't want to be in a position where we're sitting here in the home still in September or October because I already want to be in Texas by then. As a matter of fact, we're going to be moving the kids over to a different school district, so we want to be already situated. Perfect. Let's take advantage of that. And the best part about it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, even if we do sell a little bit earlier, we can let the buyer know that your goal is to stay here until then. But we'd rather be in a proactive versus a reactive position. That makes sense. Okay. So any questions, any comments, any concerns? That's pretty much all the breakdown I'm going to do on the script. We're going to go through and we're going to go through some role play as we continue to move forward. Any questions?
Robert, would you pre-qual or send a pre-listing package?
Again, it's just a preview. So in this particular case, I'm not going to pre-qual. I'm not going to send a pre-listing package until they know that we're ready for an appointment. Now, what I can do, Brandon, in this particular case, to answer your question a little bit deeper, is I can go out there and I can preview the home on Saturday, and I'll say, well, why don't we do this? Here's what I want to do, Brandon. What I'd like the opportunity to do, with your permission, is I would love the opportunity to show you with what it is that I do to get homes sold. Now, if you're in agreement, we're in agreement, we get a contract signed, this allows me the opportunity to prepare some of the marketing in advance because it does cost me money. My broker doesn't allow me to do any sort of marketing or anything like that until we are under contract. Now, the best part about it, Brandon, is you get to pick when we start. Okay. So, but that's the part that where I will bridge the gap. But I won't go through the prequel. I won't do the pre-listing packet until we're on the same page that the purpose of our meeting is to sign a contract. Okay. But in this case, it's just the preview. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Anybody else have anything else? I'm pretty much out of material for today.
Good
Kind of
question.
a little bit faster. Go ahead.
When you go on the preview, what are you bringing? Are you leaving anything with this prospect or bringing anything physically to leave with them?
Yeah, there you go. Great question. So I always want you guys to be prepared in every aspect. Okay. The ABCs in real estate is always be closing. So in that, Chris, what I want you to do, and everybody should have this, you should have in your car what is I call your sales kit. So in your car, Chris, you should have your listing packet. You should have a buyer packet. You should have a buyer broker agreement. You should have everything in a sense with what it takes. But to answer your question in specific, you're going to have a clipboard, ideally. You're going to have a pen, ideally. You're also going to have your plan of action because you go through, you preview the property, and as you preview the property, they're going to ask you questions. What is it that you do? I'm so glad you asked. Here's my 22, my 24, my 18-point plan of action. This is what I do to sell homes. But what I'd like to do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is I'd like to share with you not just the plan of action. I'd like to share with you a little bit more in detail with what I do to sell homes. And that's it. Clipboard, pen, and your plan of action. Okay, so don't take anything more than that because if you go to the preview and you try to turn it right there and then on the spot of let's sit down on the sofa, let's sit down on the dining room table, and you try to turn it into a listing presentation, you're going to lose them before you even have the opportunity. Okay. How do we transition though is probably the question. Is Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you guys got a great place. I love what you guys going on here. Here's my recommendation. Let's go through some of the decluttering process. I'd probably start with some of the summer stuff because we really don't need the summer stuff right now. Let's go through some of the things that maybe that's should be in storage already. We can go ahead and pre-pack that stuff. Have you guys been to a new build home before? Yeah, you see how the closets look pretty big, and why do they look pretty big? Because there's nothing in there. Okay, so let's try to minimize as much as we possibly can. Let's depersonalize as much of this. But what I'd love the opportunity to do also is share with you my plan of action in detail with what I do to get homes sold. And Chris, I know I can be help to you and your family trying to get over to Texas. What we can do is what I can do is I can come back at a later day and go through the entire process of with what it takes to get a home sold. I don't want to do that now because I promise you the only reason I came over was to preview your home and of course a little meet and greet. So would you like to do this next week or should we do it the week after? Okay. Now I'm just being a little bit paceful at this point. Okay. All right, cool. We got time for one more question. Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions that you wanted to address? Nope. We're going to pick up again tomorrow. So today I'm going to be going live with James Shelby at 1 o'clock. We're just going to talk a little, briefly, very briefly, okay? And we're going to be talking about just the simplicity of what's going on in today's market. We're going to be talking about just the latest trends. We're going to be talking about how to finish the year strong as well. So if you guys are going to be in a position today, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard, that's going to be on Instagram. Okay, that's going to be Instagram Live. If not, I'll see you guys all tomorrow, 7:30 Pacific Standard. Thank you all for being here. Sorry, my voice is getting a little dry now. All right, everybody, let's go take
Thank
a
you,
look.
Robert.